He's my friend, Mark Medina, at the Vegas Summer League via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. Mark Medina joining us, San Jose Mercury News, used to cover the Lakers. I wanted to bring you on today, Mark, for a couple of reasons. Number one, when Boogie got signed with the Warriors, the world freaked out. And we said, take a deep breath, folks. The guy's not coming back till March. Who knows how long he'll play? The Pelicans got better when he left. My theory is Steve Kerr saw how much Houston, P.J. Tucker pushed him around and thought, you know what? We can be way too finesse. We need an edge in this locker room beyond Draymond. In your opinion, why did the Warriors take a risk with Boogie Cousins knowing his backstory?
Well, Colin, the reality is the Warriors can afford to take that risk. They have 4 other All-Stars. So worst case scenario, DeMarcus Cousins may not come back right away or is a limited version of himself. The Warriors still have a good thing going. Now, there were definitely questions in play when DeMarcus Cousins' representatives reached out to the Warriors. They wanted, obviously, information on his Achilles and how he's progressing, the severity of the injury. Also, when Steve Kerr talked with DeMarcus Cousins before and after the agreement, he made it clear, look, you're not going to be high on the offensive pecking order. There's going to be possessions you're not getting the ball. Do you buy in? And Boogie said yes. But the reality is, if for some reason some of those things don't pan out from a health standpoint, role standpoint, attitude standpoint, the Warriors can simply say, hey, DeMarcus, we don't need you. We'll win with 4 All-Stars without you.
Yeah. Steve Kerr, last year at one point, let players coach a game. Steve Kerr's as smart a guy as I've ever covered. He was a great broadcaster. He's a great coach. He was a good GM. He was a very good player. And I believe I saw last year they lost by 30 multiple times, 40 a couple, 20 multiple times. This stuff doesn't last forever, Mark. You know that. Do you sense that some of this Boogie Cousins move is, listen, man, we got to shake it up a little bit here. We want that there is a risk involved, and it's like, listen, fatigue, irritant. He's a little bit of an irritant that could be an edge. That feels like it's part of this.
Oh, Colin, you hit it on the mark. Steve Kerr said it himself when he was in Summer League 2 days ago and talked with a few people, including myself, where he was saying the idea is twofold. The Warriors got better offensively. If you were going to, kind of scrutinize their team, their center position was always the weak link. They were playing by committee with guys like Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee. And no offense to those guys, but it just doesn't match up to Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. But to your other point, as far as adding an edge, kind of bolstering some excitement, after the Warriors won their 3rd championship in the past 4 years, an ultimate NBA first world problem emerged for Steve Kerr, where he was saying, if it was hard for me to get the guys going and motivated this year, it's going to be even harder next season because they knew, frankly, they were fine. But here, I think there's kind of a fascination of the integration process of when does he come back? How do they fit in? How do they benefit from DeMarcus's presence? And I think the Warriors need to be challenged. They need puzzles to figure out because simply they figured out the 82-game puzzle in the playoffs. So the idea is to make sure that they don't get bored, that all of a sudden some bad habits emerge.
By the way, Lakers getting LeBron, how does that land for the team you cover? What have they said quietly not in the press?
Yeah, the Warriors obviously have their attention on that, and they think it's going to be cool from just a California dynamic, NorCal, SoCal. There'll be some exciting games. Even when the Lakers obviously were going through rebuilding last year, they had a lot of respect for that young core. But with that being said, it's not like the Warriors feel threatened by them in any way in terms of how they would match up in the playoffs. The reality is the Warriors played a LeBron James team in June with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they did just fine, sweeping them in 4 games. They beat them in 5 games last year. So it's a matter of they'll take the team seriously. When you have LeBron James, you have to do that. But they still have a ways to go to kind of build the kind of cast around them before they suddenly become a team that could threaten the Warriors in the West.
All right, Mark Medina used to work for the LA Times. He covered the Lakers. Now he covers the Warriors for the Mercury News. We like to bring people in during the Summer League. I never really covered the Summer League for most of my career. Last couple of years, it's gotten some play. Has there been? Now, I know Summer League can be overrated, but it does give you glimpses of players. For instance, Kevin Knox, Kentucky to the Knicks, I thought was the best player I've seen who I really believe could score 17 points a game next year in the NBA. I really thought, is there anybody you've seen that you've thought, wow, that's a young player that's going to have a future in this league, big time?
Yeah, Colin, to be frank, I can't really say that just because the way I've been tackling Summer League, you take it for what it is, which is not much. And I've been using that time to just try to talk to, people who are in town. Bob Myers, the Warriors GM, for example, Steve Kerr, Boogie Cousins came in to sign his contract. I think it was a little bit different when I was covering the Lakers because you had guys that were going to be in the starting lineup, right? With Lonzo Ball, and you want to get a glimpse of how he's doing there. And I remember last year, he wasn't necessarily shooting the ball well, but you could tell right away, hey, he is changing the culture with which the Lakers are playing in terms of passing the ball, getting guys involved. But at the same time, you really have to take it with a grain of salt. A guy named Steph Curry, when he was playing in Summer League, his numbers were awful, and that wound up not being a big deal. I think that there's a lot being made with Trae Young kind of going through a similar thing where he's been up and down his first time with Atlanta, but I think that they're of the mind for the same reason that it wasn't a big deal for Steph Curry. These numbers are very deceiving. So I think broadly speaking, when I'm watching Summer League play, and specifically it's been with the Warriors, looking at their rookie Jacob Evans, their second-year forward Jordan Bell, third-year center Damian Jones. It's not so much their points, it's just how their presence is with the team. What kind of leadership qualities are they showing? Because for once, they're in a much more elevated role than they were with the previous Warriors where, it's all about Steph and Clay and Durant. And so far, so good, but I'm not really paying attention that much to the games because I'm trying to talk to people, in the stands and behind the scenes with the Warriors there.
Well, I'm going with Kevin Knox of the Knicks. Looked like the most NBA-ready guy. Mark Medina, great talking to you, bud. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.